Hey everybody, so just gonna be discussing Intel stock today. Intel is gonna be a very interesting stock just because it's trading at a pretty low valuation, and that's mainly just due to the negative sentiment about the company, just due to AMD, taking the performance crown from Intel after Intel's been the market leader for decades. And that is definitely scaring off investors. But I'm going to be going through the numbers and just showing you why I think Intel is not only undervalued, but I also think the sentiment is so negative that people aren't seeing what Intel has to offer for investors in the future. So first off, the only reason Intel lost the performance crown was just due to lack of innovation and, in my opinion, effort. They just coasted by for 10 years. AMD kind of didn't do anything. And then a couple years ago, AMD finally releases something that was interesting, the Ryzen series. So their first generation they were still trailing Intel, but the fact that they were so far behind just made it a very interesting product. And now they've finally caught up with their latest generation of Ryzen chips. One thing that you really have to look at when trying to decide when to buy a stock is one, look at the company. Two, look at the stock price. What is the actual cost of the stock? So Intel is trading at a below 12 PE, which is really low in today's market, especially since everything is really inflated. So the sentiment is definitely negative on Intel. You can see year to date, they went from a peak of 68 down to 53. They have a market cap of $217 billion. And one thing you want to notice is here that they have made 16 billion, 20 billion, 16 billion free cash flow the last several years. That's pretty good, right? Let's just compare that to AMD. So 16 billion and their market cap is 217. AMD has a $133 billion market cap. And do you want to guess? And they have traded a 38 PE. And they generate about 2.4 billion in cash flow. Now you can't see the trend for AMD is that they're definitely trending upwards, but the fact is you're paying so much more for AMD. Like, it's absolutely silly. Like, you're paying 133 billion for a company that can produce 2.4 billion dollars in cash flows. Now, even if this number increases over time, you're paying an extremely high multiple for the free cash flow that this business can provide. Whereas with Intel, not quite the case. 16 billion into 217. I mean, you're making your money back a lot sooner. You're paying a lot less for Intel's free cash flow. And Intel's like more consistent. You're paying a lot less for it. So that's one reason why I just don't like AMD. It's just the share price is just too high. Another reason why I think Intel is a little bit undervalued and the sentiment is not correct is that they're shifting their business. They're focusing for change. So they're going to be building 2 chip-making facilities in Arizona. So they're going to be manufacturing not only their own chips, but chips for other companies. So like think your Qualcomms and other companies. So they're going to be making revenues not only from selling their own chips in the server space, the consumer desktop space, the laptop space, and other industries. They're going to be a major chip maker. They're going to bring back chip manufacturing to the States. And I think the fact that they're behind right now in the semiconductor space is kind of offset a little bit because we're in a global chip shortage. So I think that they are focusing on an industry that is going to grow over the next decade, maybe even longer, just due to all the demand of all the electric vehicles and all the semiconductors that we're going to need in everything. Like our fridges are going to have them. Absolutely, there's just not enough chips to go around, and I think Intel's identified this, and they should grow their free cash flows into the future, even if they don't become like the performance king again of desktop CPUs. But I think they definitely can get that back if they put in the effort and actually invest more into R&D and try to compete with AMD. All right, so that's pretty much everything. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already, you can join WealthSimple with my link in the description, and you can start investing on your own and get the value of 2 free stocks.